Welcome to the channel, everybody. This is Hardware Despair. My name is Ryan, and today we're playing Unreal World. And here we are out on the world map. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see that we've got a person with us. Our dog is there following behind. Actually, I believe we have two people. Yep, there's another guy up just north up there in the white. He is also with us. I believe we've hired two people, if I recall, from the last episode. If we take a quick look at the overall map here real quick. There it is. Okay, so we are up here in the green territory. This is one of the friendly cultures in the region who we have come up here and hired a few people. Now we've got to make our way down. We got to be careful though, because as I remember, there's a lot of water here, and we had trouble finding a little land bridge, but we did locate one. So we're the little red dot, and we've got to head back down south, avoiding the purple, and we need to get home. Actually, that's not home. This is home. So the intention here is to get home as soon as possible so that I can use these two guys who we've got to help us build our cabin, which is going to take a heck of a lot of labor. So that's what I'm trying to do, is just get home. We're not doing any hunting or anything. We got plenty of food. As you can see, I'm going to eat a little bit, take a drink from our wooden tub. We are doing well in terms of our equipment now. We've got hand axes. We got more axes back at the home. We got a fine spear, a fine hunting bow. So we've come a long way since the start, where we started off with basically just a knife and our clothes. Let's see here. So where am I exactly? I'm gonna pop in and out of this map quite a bit so I can find hopefully the most efficient route home. Let's see here. Yep. I'll just keep heading through here. Also, at the same time, I like to try and open up new areas of the map as I travel, you know. Oh, look, I think we just passed something, some sort of animal. That's okay. Like I said, we're not here to hunt, though. We're just moving. Now, let's see. Pop back in. Oh, wow. We actually came really close to running into the enemy village. That would have been a disaster. But let's go ahead and sleep. Oh, it's raining. Can't sleep now. That's also one thing we know, that it's definitely getting towards springtime. Yeah, because it's raining so much more often. We're not seeing snow as often. We're seeing rain. All right, I was able to sleep a little bit, not much. Don't worry. As soon as we get home to the shelter, we'll be good. And we're close. We're getting closer and closer. It should be just right over here. Boom. All right, we made it. Woohoo! We did it, folks. We are here, home sweet home. Let's take a look around here. I'll zoom in a little bit. So, first things first, let's order these two guys to start working. Now, they both should have axes, as I recall. We spent time looking for two guys. Yep, he's got a woodsman. And I made sure they had axes. Just double check in here. Yep, hand axe. Perfect. So, what we can do is hit Shift exclamation mark. And I'm going to talk to this guy. There's a way to do group commands. So, if I hit the plus button, I can do group and ask them to fell some trees all at once. Yeah, and you'll see down at the bottom, they both responded very well, and that message is repeated. So that means they're both going to go and do it. See, yep, they start to wander off. Now, I'm going to go ahead and sleep real quick because we're extremely tired. I'm going to curl up in the shelter and go to bed. All right, now we're totally refreshed. These guys are probably done. Yeah. They're going to need a new group command. So let's get both of them in our sight. It's important to have them in your vision. I think that does make a difference when giving group commands. So let's do this. So for instance, if they're not in your vision, you won't be giving commands to them. All right, let's go ahead and fell some more trees. Yep, both of them responded. There we go. Now I'm going to come over here and get rid of the dog. He's been with me long enough. He's probably starving. I almost never feed the dogs when I'm traveling with them. No, he's not starving yet. But I really should probably do that more often. I'm just lazy about it, really. All right, let's go ahead and remove the skis. They'll never die. Like, the animals won't die from starvation, but they do, like, they'll get the modifier starved, and I think it'll hurt their performance or something. It'll make them less likely to respond to your commands and stuff, too. So just keep that in mind. It's good to keep your dogs fed. That's why I always leave the bones in the pen. So I've got to take my skis off, so let's do that. Now I'll make sure he's here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit A to unleash him. Now I'm going to tell him to go ahead and eat, since he's right there standing on the bones. Go ahead, buddy, eat. All right, now I'm going to hide. I'm I'm going to put my skis back on. I'm going to keep using my skis even though we're getting closer towards the spring. I'm going to use them up until it starts to tell me that it's not effective. It'll tell you you can't use your skis anymore. So right now we're still working on moving all these logs. I'm going to go ahead and grab my axes off the ground. We'll pick those up since we're back here and we're traveling. Let me check my inventory real quick. Just want to make sure I'm not carrying anything I don't need. Don't really need the rope, but I'll hold on to it for now. It's only 1 pound. We got a bunch of meat with us. I seriously brought a ton of it. I'll just keep that on me. So really what I should be doing is, it's boring and laborious, but I need to be moving all these logs. So we've got about half the thing set up. Now I need to move the rest of the logs these guys are cutting down. Just take it, move it. Basically like I did with the other, this other half. So set up piles of 6 at each location where I intend to build a wall. And like I said, it just takes time. But with 2 guys here now helping out for several days, because that trip didn't take too long, so they will be here for a few days before they decide to leave. But yeah, we're definitely going to have enough resources, and it's going to be pretty sweet because now they can help me actually like trim some of these trunks into logs themselves. So that'll speed up the process as well. Well, just a quick update here. Cabin's going pretty good. Both my helpers are still around. Let me see if I can't get them. Okay, they're working on logs now. So I've had them now alternating between cutting down trees and preparing these tree trunks and putting them into logs here. So you can see they got this pile ready. I could actually go ahead and start the wall here. I think this stack is ready too. No. They're not fully done. They do them kind of randomly. They don't focus on one full stack. So, but we're making progress. As you can see, I've got to get this, the west wall set up. But we do have a ton of logs. So like I said, they've been alternating. They are cutting them as well. It's hard to see them now because it's after midnight. But now you can see down here. Down below, yeah, there's a bunch of logs down here, tree trunks and logs, because sometimes they come down here and they'll turn these guys into logs before I've moved them, which is okay. It's totally fine, not a big deal. But let's see. So that's 4 plus 7. Oh, I think I've got extra ones there. We don't need that many. That's okay. We will need plenty of boards too. So at some point I might actually start to have them chop up some boards here. First, I want to get all the walls in place so they're not chopping up the logs that they've prepared to turn into boards, because that's just a wasted step. You know what I'm saying? So boards will be the last thing I have them do probably before they leave. But let's see. Choose a target. Let's get them to do some, focus on more logs for me. So like I said, it's kind of just long and boring, but that's what survival's all about, repeating tedious tasks over and over again to ensure your survival. Okay, well, they're telling me that they've got 2 more days to work with me now, so that's good to know. But we've got quite a lot accomplished. So, here's the other one. Usually, because we hired them so close together, they'll return at the same time too, basically. But we've got so much accomplished that I'm actually thinking I might expand the size of this a little bit. Like, it's just extra labor on my part. All these guys, and because once I get everything moved, I think they'll have everything chopped up into logs for me. This is really great. Let's talk to this guy. Let's get them both. Keep going on the logs there, fellas. Yeah, this is working great. Like I said, I think we can actually make this a little bit bigger thanks to these 2. All right, so they're here for 1 more day. They just come up to me and asked me to pay them now before they leave tomorrow. So I've paid 1 guy. I'm going to deliver items, and it took quite a bit of food too, because we've had them do a lot of stuff. And these bland cuts, they're not very valuable. So I just gave him all 50 of them. He's happy with that. Okay, good. So that took about 100 elk cuts for us, not to mention what the little bit, like 8 or 12 that we initially hired them with. So it was pretty expensive to hire these guys in terms of food wise, but we've got plenty more. There's food on the ground right here. I've still got 64. In fact, I'm going to pick these up. I'll leave the fat there on the ground for now, but we've also got a stack of 166. But to be honest, the food situation is getting a little bit low. If I didn't have if spring wasn't approaching so quickly, I would be a little bit nervous, but I think we're going to be fine. Now, it is important to get this structure built, as I've mentioned in the past, because during the summer and spring, you cannot dry meat outdoors. outdoors. It's too humid for that. So you have to go inside and smoke your meat indoors in a closed structure. So, a tent or a shelter, a small shelter, does not count. So that's why we are taking such long, effort and stuff, and selling all our food away just for this structure, so that we can prepare meat that we hunt during the summer. Otherwise, it goes to waste. If we just roast it all or try and trade it away, we'll lose most of it. Well, as I mentioned, I would continue using my skis until it told me that I can't. So it says, if you look, it says you're wearing skis, but there's not enough snow for proper skiing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the skis off. And I'm going to go ahead and wield an arrow instead of the ski stick. And I'm going to drop these skis off so I don't carry around the extra weight all summer. Spring and summer, there's no reason for that. I'm just going to drop them in our shelter. Now, I would say next year I'll just pick those same ones up and reuse them, but I'll probably craft some new ones since those are inferior. I might end up trying to make a better quality, but we might just end up sticking with those next season too if I don't have the time. But more than likely, I will have the time and resources at some point. We'll see, but yeah, so that's good. As you can see, I'm still hauling logs up here. These guys are almost done. I bet you, like, within the next few hours, game time, they're going to be leaving here. But I'm getting them just cut down every last little tree that they can before they go. So I have plenty of logs to work with here. I didn't get any boards cut by them this time around, but that's okay. I can just do that myself eventually. As you can see, I think just getting the trees cut themselves is the most important part for me. That really makes my whole job a lot easier. Oh, okay, so this guy's ready for a new order. So he's not quite ready to leave yet. I'm just doing fell trees right now because that occupies them for the longest amount of time. If I order them to do a log, they'll just do one log and then that's it. But they'll usually fell like 2 or 3 trees during their little order cycle. So let's get this guy. Actually, let's go ahead and have him split one of these up into boards real quick. Hopefully he uses a tree trunk and not a prepared log, but they're kind of dumb. So let's see, where's he going? Oh, he's doing the log that I use to beat out my animal hides on. So he's doing the log that's right next to my shelter, but that's okay. No worries, no worries. We need the boards. We will need them for several different purposes coming up. Floors and ceiling, not to mention the cellar. That's going to be a big priority. In fact, I'll probably build a cellar before I've even finished this place. We'll just see how the weather turns out, but I don't know how long this is going to take. But I tell you, I am getting close. I'm just about ready to start the construction on the walls and get it all laid out like I've got the first set here. So we're getting close, folks. Oh boy. Well, I was just moving logs as usual, and the ground changed all of a sudden. We went from white to green, so you can see spring has officially arrived now with that. Very welcome, too. Okay, and we just woke up. I think it's time. Yep, it's time for them to go. Bye now. But since we paid them, that is awesome, and they will definitely be willing to work for us again in the future if we go back there. So this guy I don't think is quite done yet. He's got a little bit extra time. Let's give him a go fell a couple more trees before he does. All right, so I've got so many trees and stuff up here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. I'm going to start working on these walls. Now, like I said, I think I'm going to extend them a little bit more. Originally, I had just planned to end it right here and make it basically like a perfect square, but right now I think I'm going to extend it one more. So let's do Shift B, wooden building. We're going for the northern wall here. I don't usually put windows in my structures, and there's a good reason for that. Mainly when you're trying to rest and or sleep, but if you have like animals, your pen animals in your sight, then it'll slow down the rate at which you rest. The game processes all the animals on screen at the same time, so it slows it down. It takes longer essentially in real time. So I don't put windows, especially like that are facing towards my animals. It's got ups and downs. Like, I mean, sometimes if like a weasel or something comes onto your property, your dogs will go crazy and just start constantly like annoying you with barking. But, with a window, the only thing is you could just kind of see what the intruder was. The worst case would be like a bear or a wolf, basically. Okay, well, the cabin's not quite done yet, but as I mentioned, as soon as the ground becomes thawed out enough, I'm going to try and build a shelter. I don't, or not a shelter, a cellar. So I don't know for sure if it's ready, but let's try it. You have it all? Yes, awesome. So we've got a cellar going now. You can see it right in front of me. It's not quite finished. We need just need to rest real quick, and we can repeat it. And let's finish that sucker up. Nice. Now we can drop our food in here. Essentially, oh, I need some more water. That's okay. I'll go grab that in a second. So what I can do is, like for instance, this fat I've got laying just out in the middle of the open. Also, these aren't ready. Some more days, but I can take stuff like the fat and the food that I've got, the excess food I don't need to carry around, and drop this in the cellar, and it will preserve it for a little bit long. It doesn't, keep it good indefinitely, but it does preserve it for much longer than just like laying it out in the open. Normally, what I'll do is I'll build two of those, and I'll have one for the meat and one for like any berries or heather or anything I pick up. Also, I usually put spices and stuff. I'll separate my salt and things like that. So, usually I have a couple cellars, but for right now, this is good enough. And as you might notice, I did pick up my shovel, so I'll be carrying that around with me for most of the summer in case we want to, build something. Also, what I'm probably going to do relatively soon is start to take off some of the heavier clothing items we have. So let's see. Just I'm going to test it. It might be a little too early in the year still, but I'm going to take off the cloak. That's 11 pounds right there I can drop. So I'm going to drop that in our shelter for now. Let me drop that. We'll see. Now, if I start to get cold, I might have to put it back on, but hopefully it's not going to come to that. I think we're probably far enough along. Let's see. And since I'm not doing like a lot of over the world traveling right now, since I'm just kind of hanging out here. All right, let me fill this up. I'm trying to fill up my tub. Let's do that. Fill that up. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, since I'm just hanging out working on the cabin, I think we'll be okay. All right. Well, now you can see the walls are up. They're not finished, obviously, but I've got them all in place, so to speak. We've still got several logs left and a bunch still down in the forest that I haven't moved, so we've got extra. I don't think I'm gonna make it any bigger than this. It doesn't. You don't need to be so real super ambitious, It just needs a big enough place for you could make it, in fact, very small, and it would function just fine as a little smokehouse, if you want to go do that. But I like having a little extra room so I can kind of organize my gear, drop it all on the floor inside. But again, another thing to consider, like late game, one of the objectives you might want to do is take over some enemy villages. So if you do that, you're going to end up with your own pre-built structures that you can just capture, like I said, and use those. So keep that in mind too. You might not want to go too extensive in your own building if you plan to just do some conquering later on. Another quick thing I can do to take a break from the construction of our shelter, our cabin, is to come down here to this alder tree and try and peel off the bark here so we can go up there and finish some of those preserved skins that we've got, because this will work for tanning material. Let me drink this. Yeah, we did it. Why do I have the wooden bowl on me again? Oh, that's what had my food in it. That's right. Yeah, yeah. So I was putting food in the wooden bowl. So let's put the 65 pounds. Beautiful. Now we can eat that in one bite instead of having to eat multiple bites. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and peel off a bit more of this. Oh, I've already harvested it from that tree, so I'll have to go find a different rowan or alder tree. Here's another one right over here. Sometimes they're pretty easy to find. Sometimes they're hard to find, depending on the forest you're in. All right, so let's check it out. Now I've got 7 sheets of alder bark. That's 3 pounds of tanning material. I'm going to grab another one because there happens to be another tree right here. So let me just get that. All right, because remember, you can't get this stuff in the winter, so it is a good idea to kind of grab a lot of it when it's nice and warm out. It doesn't take long. It takes about an hour to peel it, hour and a half. So you want a few pounds of it. Let's do that. Because remember, when you're doing big skins, like an elk fur, for instance, those things take several pounds of tanning material alone. So ideally, that's what we'll be working with. We're not going to be doing just fox furs or bird skins forever. But that does remind me, too, speaking of foxes, someone recommended that I go ahead and make several fox traps and lay them around the area because fox fur is very valuable in terms of its trading. building, and it's obviously very light too. So that's not a bad idea. I wouldn't mind having like a little fox trapping operation going. I think that's kind of a cool thought. So yeah, with the extra boards we have, if I have some left, I think I will do that. But anyway, let's pick up these yeah, the skins. Let me get them going again. So again, just taking a little break from the, while we have some food still, I'm going to take a little break from building the cabin. Let's tan these. So we basically need to reactivate these here by soaking them. Shift HT, let's do that one. So they're going to be ready for the tanning material by late afternoon. So we'll go and check those again a little bit later on. Now, normally I wouldn't carry around this bark with me. I'd drop it up there by the water source, but I know I'm going to need it shortly. So I'll just continue working. Trust me, late afternoon will come very shortly as we prepare for the building here. Let's go shift building P for pause. There we go. You can always pick up pause buildings like this by just hitting S, B for building, and then P to continue paused process. So that's nice. But first I need to rest. All right, let's repeat. Takes several tries. You have to rest several times. My guy does at least before he can get one section finished. Boom, there's the third section of the wall done. And he's ready to drop. So let's put him to bed. Okay, well, you can see that the little reindeer fur that I've got takes about a pound of tanning material there. So let's repeat that process with this one. So we do have 2 of them. So there you go. You can see I'm already using about 2 pounds of that alder bark. I'm going to go ahead and drop it, like I said, right up here by where we process our skins. It's okay. It won't go bad or anything. It'll just sit there until we need it in the future. And these guys are good to go, so I'll just have to come and check on them again. Now, the problem is I don't have a beating surface anymore down here by my shelter because that one guy turned it into boards, so I need to come grab a log. Trust me, there's plenty of them down here. Oh, there's still some left. All right, so that's good too because I'll use these for crafting purposes later on, or maybe chop them up into firewood at some point. So it's good that we've got extra tree trunks sitting around. Well, we've got this goshawk that keeps coming around the area, and he keeps landing nearby and scaring our dog. The dog is like barking, and it's constantly interrupting me. See this? Whenever the dog barks in anger like that, it interrupts your work. Actually, basically, if you want to go check it out. So it's kind of super annoying. I'm thinking about setting up a trap just to try and get that goshawk. I'm going to keep working, though. If it interrupts me more, though, I'm going to go for it. Okay, well, I went ahead and made one loop snare down here, and I put it below. Hopefully that'll be enough, but I think I will actually go ahead and pick up some of these perfect boards right here, these 4, and I think I'm going to take them to the shelter. There shouldn't be any boards here. And I'm going to make some fox traps too, so let's lay some of those. This will be good. Springtime, we'll probably see, yep, creature barking and alarm. That trap is a little bit too close. I might not want to set it over near the dog or something, possibly. Because the bird I don't know if the bird wants to attack the dog or what, but that might be the case. Anyway, let me make a couple more of these fox boards. There we go. All right. Let's see here. How many did we get? 3 and 1 pour. All right. Tell you what, we'll go ahead and lay all 4 of them, even though one of them's kind of poorish. I'm also I got to remember to tell my dog to eat more often. I don't want him to start starving to death because we're going to need him shortly. Once we get the cabin built, we're going to go into like major hunting mode. Disassemble that. Let's go ahead and grab them. Yeah, I'm going to move this up here a little bit closer. Let's put it like right here next to the dog. So the traps that you actually craft and have in your inventory, they're placed by the action command. You come in and you select action. Yep, there you go. I'm going to bait that with that dried elk cut. Now, let's see here. So let's place these fox traps. I guess I'll place a couple of them down here where we've got kind of the forest has been a little cleared out. That's good. Let's place another one kind of on that same line. It's a little bit close to our base, so let's move it down a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. I'll place the other 2 as well nearby. Well, I have officially picked up all the dried meat we have and dropped it in the cellar, so you can see now just how much food we've got. It's really not that much, about 14 pounds. So that'll last, a few weeks at most. But we really are just finishing this shelter in the nick of time, I'll tell you that. As you can see, I've only got 3 more sections to go, so I'm going to hurry up and try and get it done. Well, well, well. Will you take a look at that? We finally got that pesky little goshawk. So let's go ahead and we'll equip our broad knife. Take this guy out. He shouldn't be too much of a challenge. Considering he's trapped. That's good to know that our trap worked. All right, we got him in the skull. I imagine this thing might be pretty big. Let's see how many cuts we get off of it. I'll probably end up just roasting it, but there we go. It is dead. I'm going to grab it all, and I will go ahead and replace this loop snare. I'll just put it down here right in the same place. That was a good one. I don't think I'll bait it this time since probably won't need to bait it. Actually, I do have one single dried elk cut, but that's okay. Yeah, let me tell this guy to eat, make sure. And you can see he's kind of getting low on bones over there, so yeah, I have to watch that. But let's take this bird up and process it. Well, we only ended up with three goshawk cuts, so that's not as much as I'd hoped, but we'll just roast those up real quick. It won't take very long. All right, well, the structure is done. We haven't done the floors or the walls yet, obviously, but you can see I've got the door in, and yeah, we've got all our boards and stuff here. I probably need more slender trunks because those are required too, but let's go ahead and start building the floors and walls. So over here, there's a special section for wall with the, no, 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 no. Floors and ceilings. Now I keep saying floors and walls. It's ceiling and floor. There it is. 5. Okay. So you got to do each square of the interior like that right there. So I'll repeat that right here. Luckily, it's not quite as labor intensive as building the big wall itself, but it does take a while for each little square. So once you get the walls up, you're basically only halfway finished. But the good news is now I can close the door in here, and if I go to a section that has a ceiling like that we just built, I can actually sleep here uninterrupted now without worried. Oh, we're frightened though. We're frightened after sleeping in our first night in the cabin. Probably just because it's unfinished. Who knows? Let's see here. I did sacrifice a piece of the dried meat that we've been having. Maybe I'll sacrifice one of these dried gossa cuts too. Or not dried, one of the roasted ones too. Hopefully that'll... Oh, it says we feel unsteady. Yeah, we need to try and commune more with nature here. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we're building our cabin. We're kind of intruding on Mother Nature at this point. I don't know how it works, but yeah, we're doing okay though. I'm going to get this all finished up. All right, you guys. Well, the cabin is finished. As you can see, I can come in here and close the doors. It's got no furniture, obviously. We don't have a stove, which is required if we want to smoke stuff in here. You can't just build a fire in the middle of the floor. So I will have to place a floor, but I'm going to have to go, or stove, but I'm going to have to get some rocks for that. So that'll be for another time. But we do need to make that a priority. As you can see, I've ended up with a ton of boards left, so that's kind of nice. We can make some tables and a bed and stuff in here, so we'll use the boards for that, but we'll still end up with a bunch left. But that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for joining me here in the Unreal world. If you like this content, consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me out and I appreciate it. Also, drop me a comment if you got any tips or helpful hints for me, and I will see you guys on the next episode.